Yeah, so I found this a couple days ago when I was trying to research into optical switches and their sensors that is normally used on optical switch keyboards PCBs. Because the thing is that I was wondering whether optical switches really do not require any debounce. If you don't know what debounce is, it's a thing implemented in software to stop switch chatter. So when you press down a switch, it presses against that contact, it makes contact with the other piece of metal, and then it basically sends this has been pressed to the PCB. And the thing is that the leaf mechanism actually vibrates against the other metal contact when you push it down, which causes chatter, where it doesn't actually go into an immediate high, but there is a bit of up and down movement before it goes into high. The other day I found a Google Drive containing datasheets from Gateron optical switches, and their first image in this drive folder was a promotional image about their switches. And in this first image here, they show off the oscilloscope when they use this optical switch, and as you can see here, there is no chatter. This means that you can leave out any debounce code, which means that inputs will be sent faster. But the thing is that this is coming from Gateron, who are selling you a product. Not to mention that they never mentioned what sensors they used here, and they never said anything about the spec equipment they used on this test, which means that you actually don't know what the hell is going on in these images, other than the fact that this one is supposedly using optical switches and this one is using ones that isn't. Basically, I cannot 100% trust this test. And so I was just looking up optical switch things, and I stumbled across this article by Switch and Click, which is so funny. No hate to Switch and Click. I know they run a really successful YouTube channel and all that. They are very huge, especially compared to me. I am a small no-name channel after all. But dang, bruh. That's the only way I can put this into words. Alright, so let's just look over this article. At the baseline, you can tell this article is comparing optical versus mechanical switches. We decided to test for ourselves to see which switch type we preferred and if optical switches were actually faster than mechanical when gaming. Alright, fair, let's find out. And then here they have a TLDR. Optical switches are usually better for gaming, while mechanical are better for general usage. We found Razer optical switches actuate 30 milliseconds faster than normal mechanical switches, which makes them superior for gaming. 30 milliseconds? That's ridiculously fast. But yes, let's continue. Just a reminder, this article is going purely over optical versus mechanical. So optical switches are faster actuating. I wish they gave stats. This one's slower, the keystrokes. When comparing optical and mechanical switches, most just look at the overall speed of the switch when determining the winner. But when picking out a switch, you want it to be super satisfying, comfortable, and durable. That being said, optical switches are faster actuating than mechanical switches, which makes them better for ultra-competitive games where you need an extra millisecond advantage. While being a little slower, mechanical switches do typically feel better and are much more fun to use. In addition, they are quieter, have more options, and are easier to mod. Okay, so over here they're saying the overall feel, winner is mechanical, and then as for speed, the winner is Razer optical switches, which honestly, how did they test this? And apparently, for this section, I actually did some testing to calculate the speed of each switch type. I did multiple trials of each switch. The Cherry MX Red, the Cherry MX Silver, Gateron Optical Black, and Razer Optical Purple. I ran each switch through a reaction beat tester, which calculated the time it takes for me to react and for the computer research change. Oh my god. So they were basing which one is faster based on reaction time. Oh my god. I think I can just stop the video here. You already know how stupid this is. The results were surprising. You'd expect Cherry MX Silver switches to be faster than MX Reds, but in reality they had a similar reaction time. The shorter actuation made no difference between both mechanical switches, even though they advertised Cherry to be really fast. Oh my god. In this article, they made no mention of what keyboards they were using. Other than the fact they were using reaction timing to test for the speed of the switch, they didn't take into account that, one, I just mentioned earlier that debounce software makes things slower, especially if implemented extremely poorly. Two, the polling rate of the keyboard matters. And 3, there are other firmware things that may cause keyboards to be slower, such as your LEDs, for example. So of course Razer is going to win when you pit it against another keyboard that's running at a lower polling rate. Holy shit. The thing is that the reason why I cannot tell whether optical switches chatter or not is because I need to write the firmware from scratch. I want to write a keyboard without the bounce so that I can just hammer away at the switch and see whether it chatters or not. Which is a thing I've actually tested on my keypad. You can see it chattering when I press keys down because there's no debounce. And straight up, a good way to showcase how optical doesn't equal faster is this keyboard here, the GK61 optical board. It uses optical switches, and this thing pulls at 100 Hz. What's the fucking point? I mean, they do admit it's not a peer-approved study, but it works in theory. I don't understand. You're making bold claims here that you really cannot back up. Man, if you're a mechanical engineer, you would know. Whatever I'm talking about is more akin to software and computer and electrical engineering, but seriously? Yeah, but basically, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, please stop talking.